we wanted to wrap up the show with a little bit of fun, to kind of talk about some of our favorite Cleveland sports memories of our lifetimes. I'm sure, the big one for everybody is going to be the 2016 Cavs championship. If it's not, then I don't know what the hell's wrong with you, because that's probably my number one Cleveland sports moment. I'm sure it probably is for you guys too. Maybe.
Definitely up there.
Are we talking? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Bottlegate. Sorry.
Bottlegate.
Bottlegate against the Jags. But you started that, Clarence, right? They're still looking for you. Isn't that what happened?
He had hair back then.
He's in disguise.
It's got to be 2016. There's no other. There were some. I think we all have good memories, from different Cleveland Indians teams in the 90s, and some of the great moments LeBron produced before the championship year, from 2003 to 2010. And then even going back further, you can talk about, Clay Matthews and the interception against the Jets, everything prior to playing Denver in 86, 87, and then 89. Those were all good times. But it's 2016. There's nothing like it out there. And I don't care what nobody has to say. Yeah, it's one ring, but that's worth 10 rings compared to a lot of these championships I've seen won, and I'll die on that hill.
I think that what made it even more special was that we were down 3-1, and that no team ever came back from 3-1. So, we won Game 5, we won Game 6, and I felt like going into Game 7, you almost were as relaxed as you could be as a Cavs fan, because you just thought to yourself, they put themselves in an opportunity to win it. And when Kyrie hit that shot, LeBron hit that free throw, every last second thing was amazing. The block from LeBron, the shot from Kyrie, LeBron going down, and everyone's like, "Oh no, LeBron broke his wrist or something," and then he makes a free throw, and then they Shump fouls Klay Thompson with 4 seconds left or 3 seconds left because they had one to give. They missed a three, and it was just, there will be nothing like, until it happens again, there will be nothing like that feeling of your team, the team that you root for. And we cover these teams, and they are, you, especially as journalists, you're taught to never say your, or we, because we are not part of the team, but you're brought up rooting for the name on the front, maybe not the player on the back. And we'll love LeBron and Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving forever because of that team, and Shump and J.R. Smith, and even Timothy Mozgov.
Sasha Khan.
You're
Khan, one and done.
Yeah, you're gonna love those players forever, but it's the front of the jersey that makes it special. It's where you're from. It's who you root for. It's what you were raised on from most of the time, and to see your team be the champions there was nothing like it. I went to the parade. I don't know how many if you guys went to the parade. The sun beating down on you. I wore, and me like a dumbass, I wore the champion's cap backwards, and I had a big huge sunburn like right here in a semicircle. But it was all worth it, because it was just the most amazing feeling. But like Clarence said, there's also, then you have your that's going to be number one for pretty much anyone. But then you have your personal favorites, like the first Browns game me and my wife went to, and it was a shootout between the Browns and the Bengals, and it was 56-49, or I can't remember what the score was. But the Browns ended up winning, and it was just a crazy game. And those, like Clarence said, those mid '90s Indians, going to the games with my dad, and the first Guardians game I took my daughter to, or even the first Captains game I took my daughter to. There's sports is such a special thing because it brings you together as fans, but it also brings you together as family and as friends. And whether you're rooting for the same team or you're rooting for different teams, it's always an event, and there's nothing like it in the world. And I think that's a big reason why all of us do what we do.
Derek, go ahead.
Has anybody been to a bad one? Derek, you've been to it. Has anybody? I know we're talking about good ones, but like as a Cleveland sports fan, like I've like avoided like all the 99% of these tragedies that people talk about, but I caught 2 in the last 2 years. And what a sky! I'll ask those later. But Dee, have you ever been to a bad one?
Yeah, I was at the blocked field goal that was returned for a touchdown against the Ravens
Baltimore
on Monday
Oh
night.
yeah, I was there. I was there.
Yeah, I was
I try to
there at
forget
that
about
one.
that.
Yeah,
I wasn't even talking about that one. I was talking about 2, and I wasn't even talking about that one.
Yeah, most of them are probably Browns games, but one for a favorite memory of mine, my dad and I were at the Snow Bowl against Buffalo. Just remember walking into the stadium, and my dad's beard actually had icicles on it before we even got into the stadium because it was so cold and snowy. And it's one of those, yeah, the Browns won, so that's great, but it's still talked about. People ask Joe Thomas about games he played in, and he points to that one as probably his favorite out of all the ones that he played in as a Brown. That's the one that sticks out to him, so that's a good memory. Been to some Cleveland Indians walk-offs. Those are always great memories. But yeah, like Joey said, and the games that you go to with your family, with your kids, your parents, those are the ones that definitely hold a special meaning, win, lose, or draw, because I I I don't want to speak for everyone, but I will. We're Cleveland fans, because we live here, born here, raised here, but someone in our family, whether it was a parent, an aunt or uncle, grandma or grandpa, you know, they turned on the radio, they turned on the TV, and you listened to an Indians game or watched a Browns game or something like that, and it hooked up all of us, and it hooked the 46 people that are currently watching us live right now, you know, because like Joey said, yeah, we have our favorite players that have their names on the back, but it's the Cleveland across the front of the chest that we all love. And, that's something that, fantasy football's kind of maybe changed that a little bit with the younger generation. They don't have that love for the teams as much as the players, but you know, these memories that we have, obviously, like we've all said, 2016 championship, my dad and brother and I, we went to the Indians game earlier in that afternoon that day, and Jose Ramirez hit a walk-off. I'll always remember that because, 6 hours later, the Cavs win their championship. But, so that's another good memory from an Indians game. But yeah, and like Joey said, there's something about sports, the event of it, after a Browns touchdown, you're turning around, you're high-fiving people that you don't know. And in the world today, that's kind of wild to think about. You don't go to a sports game and, ask everyone around you, oh, who did you vote for in 2020? And, all you care about is they're a Cleveland fan, I'm a Cleveland fan. We have that brotherhood, we have that, family feel, and it can't be repeated. It can't be whatever. But that's a great memory of sports, is just the connectivity that you get with the fellow fans around you. So
Yeah, I think
I brought Joey to tears. He left.
yeah, I think his phone was close to dying. But 2016 obviously is my tops. That fourth quarter. Remember that there was that period where nobody was scoring. It was tied, and it was just it was nerve wracking. And then
89 to 89, forever.
Then they finally put it away, and they win the championship, and I'm just sitting on the couch like, okay, what do I do now? Like, this has never happened before. It was more
Right.
I was more in shock than anything else. I didn't know what to do. How do you celebrate? I've never won a championship before. So,
Yeah, I remember standing there just staring at the TV like, did it really happen? Or like,
I stayed up and watched all the post game stuff, and it was just surreal. But
I owned a bar at that point.
Oh, did you?
I owned a bar downtown, and it emptied out. Place was empty, and I like, everybody went crazy first, but then everybody emptied out in the street, and I was like, man, I got like 107 credit cards here that I got to close out. Like, I hope they come back. Of course they did, but it was nuts. I've got some grain. Now it's grainy video. That's how old it is. That's how long it seems like it was. But I've got some video of the streets that night that just, it's still crazy. It still blows my mind. The only thing that's come pretty much since then, I think the coolest thing that I know that I've been around was the fourth quarter of the Browns Jets game this year when they clinched the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, that was just like, that atmosphere was just a big ass party in there, but everybody was mellow, but just clinching a playoff, berth at home. Like I said, I don't remember maybe the last time that happened when we had fans. So it was a really chill, mellow atmosphere. And happiness.
Quite a few, definitely happiness. Some Indians memories. 1987 was when I went to my first game with my dad and my late uncle, and my uncle actually knew Toby Hara through my his son. My cousin had died of leukemia, and he went through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and my uncle got to know Toby Hara through there. And we got there early for batting practice, went down to the field, and he had Toby Hara come over and sign a ball for me and personalize it. So 12-year-old kid, that was amazing to me. So I'll always remember that, with my dad, my uncle. Of course, the 1995 team where they just bludgeoned everybody. All those come from behind wins, winning 100 games in a strike-shortened season. 144 games, I won 100 games. Unfortunately, that damn Braves pitching took down that big offense. That was disappointing. But 97, sitting there watching Game 7 over my dad's friend's garage, a bunch of people out in the garage watching the game, final out, and you could hear a pin drop. Everybody literally just got up and left, like complete silence after that disappointing loss. In 2001, I don't know if you guys remember the big 12-run comeback against the Mariners late.
Yeah, Sunday night.
Yeah.
I had tickets to that game, and I gave them away because I had to work the next morning. Gave them to my cousin and my uncle. So I would have been there, and they stayed. My uncle wanted to leave, and my cousin's like, "No, we got to stay." And they stayed for the whole thing. So I missed that. I gave the tickets away, so my cousin and my uncle got to enjoy that. You're welcome.
So to piggyback off of that, Kevin, my dad was working third shift at the time, and typically, he'd listen to the end of the games, but they're down so much, he just turned it off and got to work. And the first shift came in the next morning, like, holy shit, the Indians came back and beat them, and he thought they were just full of it, and until he got home, turned on ESPN, and it was it Holbert Cabrera that hit the game winning?
Yeah, Holbert Cabrera.
Yeah.
I have no doubt I would have
He's
left.
one of my guys on Immaculate Grid. I love pulling out Holbert Cabrera.
Yeah, I have no doubt I would have left too, especially if I had to work the next morning. I wouldn't have stayed.
Definitely.
So I would have been kicking myself the next day for sure.
Definitely.